I did my apprenticeship as a golf pro.
Right.
So that involves a mixture of kind of working in a shop, coaching,
Yep.
and playing. So
Right.
obviously I did that at a reasonably high level, did that for years. It probably taught me a lot about coaching, just with you work with a very mixed client base.
Yeah. And last year you had the privilege of actually going to coach someone to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yep.
So one of my main reasons to moving to Byron Bay, I got an opportunity to work for a particular athlete.
Only those who are like in the group of 30 will find more out about. So if you guys are interested, you can send us an email just to register your interest at Fit4Fifo @gmail.com.
Welcome to this week's episode of Fit for Fifo. This week we got two very special guests who I'm sure you'll be seeing a bit more of. We have Nick and Josh. Thanks for coming on the show, boys.
No worries, mate.
No worries.
Firstly, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Now we're on Spotify, and as of today, officially on iTunes. So check us out on those platforms. Subscribe as well if you can. Share and like, that'd be great. Firstly, let's jump straight into a beer review, boys. Break the ice. What do you reckon?
Sounds good to
Good
me.
idea.
Thirsty.
All right, this week we have,
It is Friday.
this is just a random one I got from the local bottle shop.
Ooh, from Margaret River.
From Margaret River, mate. I thought it might be pretty relevant
Very
from
WA,
the boys
isn't
over in WA. There might want to give this one a crack. Honest
brewery is
Ale. It's from Black Brewing Co.
Yeah, it is too.
Do you know those boys?
Yeah, I've been to that brewery before.
Have you? There you go.
One
So
of many down there.
So it's an Honest Ale. I'm assuming it's a pale ale.
Looks like it.
Nice and cold. There you go, son.
Thank you.
Nick.
Thanks, mate. In your stubby holder.
Right, so one of the reasons I got it was it's naturally brewed, no additives, preservative free. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. 4.5%. Little 330ml cans, not too bad. Right, so this is how it works, boys. I've got a list of what do you call them? Categories here, and we're going to run through them. Myself, Nick, and Josh score out of 5, and we'll see how we go. So the first thing we got is the appearance, boys. So take a glass. Oh, anyone know how to pour a beer, right? That's enough. Unless you want to drink out of the beer. Well, what do you reckon of that, boys? Hey, it looks good. Look at the bubbles moving.
Pretty clear, mate.
Yeah, pretty clear.
Pretty light looking.
But does it look tasty? Everyone's just going, I don't have a fucking clue.
Pretty tasty.
A bit like wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty tasty.
Looks like a good summer. I say this about every beer. It looks like a good summer beer. It's like very
Yeah.
clear, looking nice and cool.
I like the can.
Yeah, not a bad can.
The
eh?
can looks cool.
Nice and simple,
Yeah.
minimalist.
The can.
Out of 5, appearance. I'm gonna give him a 4.
Yeah.
Room for improvement. Nick,
I'm going to go 3.5, mate.
3.5. Oh, we got a critic here. Nice. Josh, 4.
Yeah.
All right. Aroma. How's it smell, boys?
Make sure you smell with your mouth open.
Do ya?
Yeah.
Joking?
No, I'm serious. You never drank wine before?
No.
Smells
Oh.
good.
Smells nice. Smells a bit fruity, doesn't it?
Does.
Very fruity.
Pretty. All right. Out of 4, I'm gonna go. Well, yeah, it's good. I'm gonna go 4 again. 4 is my happy place.
Yeah, same again, matey. 3.5.
3.5. Yourself, Josh?
And I'm a 4 too.
You're a 4.
Could just be because I'm pretty thirsty.
All right.
at the
Experience in your mouth, boys.
Oh,
This is just how it feels on the palate. Is it cold enough? It's pretty cold, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good. Yep. Yeah, it feels like beer to me. I'm not really. I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm going 4. It's a hot day here for Byron. Probably
Yeah,
not for
same
the
again,
west.
matey. Same again.
3.5.
I like
All right.
it. I
We're
like
keeping
it.
consistent. What do you reckon?
Yeah, same for
Another
me.
4. All right.
Feels like a beer.
Flavour. How's the flavour?
I'll take another sip actually.
You boys are quite awfully quiet. What do you
Try it out
reckon?
of the can. Eh?
Yeah, that's true. That's going to add to the experience.
Could just be in my head, but it tastes a little bit better out of the can.
Always
Yeah.
does, mate.
I
Just
think
a
it's
bit
got.
colder.
I feel like it's less flavour now that I've had it out the can. Eh? Like it's not as
Yeah.
like. Yeah, it's almost tastes a little bit like a lager to me, but
Yeah, it's
so-
very light. Very
yeah,
light.
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 3.5 for myself. The flavour.
I'm going to go down to a 3. I'm going to drop
Down to
0.5,
3, the
mate.
flavour. Yeah.
It's-
I reckon a 3. It's
3.
decent.
You're going
but,
3.
Not amazing.
Not your favourite. Overall price, so it's $19 for a 6-pack. I reckon
What's the percentage?
it's 4.5%.
4.5.
330 ml cans. I think it's sort of like medium
It's in
to
the middle, yeah.
for a
3.5.
boutique. Yeah, I'm gonna say.
That's pretty cheap for a boutique beer.
Yeah,
I give them 4 for me. Mate.
you give them 4.
That's
Nice.
pretty cheap for a boutique
You
beer.
know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
same.
get many 6
4.
packs for $20
4.
these days.
that's true. Well done there, boys. And
Unless you buy BB.
yep, overall score.
Overall.
Oh, hang on.
Just add them up.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's spend some time on
There
it.
we
So
go
I'm
again.
off.
So out of 25, I've given it a 19, and you boys have given it a 17.5 from Nick, and a 19 as well. There you go,
19
boys.
too.
So thank you there for the. You're welcome. Yeah, that's it for the beer review.
Perfect.
Not bad. Now let's. So we're now going to meet. We'll learn a little bit more about the boys and why they're on the show today. So Nick, do you want to give us a bit of a summary about who you are and what you've done in your time?
Yeah, cool. So Nick, obviously, I grew up I was born in Newcastle, grew up in a country town, went to school in Tamworth in New South Wales. Kind of did bits and bobs growing up. Found myself in WA eventually. Me and a few mates went over there, did the mining thing. I didn't last very long. Kind of did it for about 6 months. Did 3 or 4 swings. Yeah, it wasn't my kind of cup of tea lifestyle-wise.
Did
so I
you,
didn't
when you
continue
said
it.
you went with a group of mates, was it like, hey boys, let's go have a crack at this mining, or was it?
Exactly right. We
Yeah.
were all living together. We're actually living in the middle of Australia.
Yep.
Out in Ayers Rock of all places, or Uluru.
Yeah, right.
And we just kind of one day were like, oh, let's go and try and make a bit of money, do the old pretty normal thing, I'd imagine.
Yep.
So yeah, we all went over there.
Any previous experience or qualifications at that time?
Yeah, look, it was things like getting green and white cards and like tickets on different machinery and stuff. So like heavy vehicle license. So we did a little bit of stuff like that, but
Yeah.
for the most part, no on-job experience.
Right. Just go head in.
Just
give
whatever
it a
you
crack.
trying to make your resume look as good as possible. But
Yeah.
it was when it was all kind of starting and none of us had any direct experience in the role.
Right.
I think maybe a forklift license was like the only thing I'd add that my mate didn't have and things like that. But yeah, no real on-job experience.
Fair enough. And then what happened after then?
So yeah, I did that, and then what I did over in WA was ended up going to uni over there. So I did a degree kind of in sport and exercise science. So I studied biomechanics and motor learning,
Right.
and I studied exercise physiology. So I spent kind of 4 years doing that.
Yep. Now, what for those who aren't really up to like all scratch with all the like the words and
so
language, can you
you'd
just put it
know
in
them
simple?
as say like an EP or an exercise physiologist is what you would see them
Yep.
in your everyday life. So they work in clinics. You can find them in hospitals or just kind of standalone clinics where you're looking after rehabilitation and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's where you'd see them kind of in your everyday life.
Right, and so you sort of learn like about the body in a really sort of deep way, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. So like biomechanics and motor learning is looking at the human body and how it functions on a very detailed level.
Yep.
Physiology is more of an internal thing in regards to like the food that you intake, your fats, your carbs, your proteins, how that is kind of taken through your body and what it's used for, and so on and so forth. So it's a bit of a mixed degree. I had a kind of interest in getting into strength conditioning coaching.
Yep.
And I wanted to have a kind of broad knowledge range that I could encompass as much as possible. So kind of went down that path to kind of learn as much as I could, which led me to out of uni. So in my last year of uni, part of our degree was you went and did some time, and I went and worked for West Coast Eagles for a few years. So it's an AFL side, obviously, over in WA.
Yep.
So I did some kind of assistant coaching there in regards to the kind of the exercise side of things. So we were out on the field in training, so kind of training assistants in the gym, kind of helping helping the players, whether they are on the field playing or they're in there doing injury rehab, things like that. So
yeah, right.
that was where I wanted to end up as a strength coach.
Yep.
After doing so, I did it for a little while. It wasn't I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't quite what I was looking for.
Right.
So I continued to do what I was doing in my spare time, which was working in kind of smaller CrossFit and boutique gyms.
Yep.
Still using a lot of my physio work, so working with kind of individual clients with kind of injury rehabilitation, sports-specific performance, and then obviously just GPP coaching, so just coaching people for kind of general physical preparedness, so just everyday stuff. So I managed to find more enjoyment in doing that. I didn't find a lot of difference in the outcome of what you got by helping someone in their everyday life versus someone that was in a high-level sport.
Right.
The application is very similar, just the levels and the intensity of it varies, obviously, depending on the individual.
Yep. Which led you to sort of your path now.
Yeah, which is, so what I do now, I currently obviously live in Byron Bay, so I continued on doing that, ended up leaving WA, so now I spend my time working in still similar gyms, CrossFit gyms, boutique gyms, doing a mixture of coaching in kind of class environments, and then for the most part individual clients in those same areas. So a lot of injury rehab, I do a lot of lower back, knee, shoulder kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then looking at people with certain goals in their fitness, so it might be got a lot of experience in things like weightlifting and gymnastics and all different kind of fields like that. So so yeah, that's what I spend my time doing.
Yeah, so basically all the way from injuries to people that are having health problems, all the way up to like guys that are working at a pretty high level, and
100%.
Guys and girls.
Yeah, it all kind of meets in the middle there. So it's kind of taking people kind of through that process and finding out where they want to end up.
Yeah, that's cool. And you found something that you love. That's good.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm very passionate about. I've always done some form of coaching in my life. And it's, at the end of the day, out of everything that I've done in my kind of life, it's that coaching role of kind of helping people achieve their goals. Doesn't really matter what that is. I think that's at the end of the day, what I didn't like about mining. Carrying buckets back and forward didn't really do it for me. But having someone come in and be able to do something they couldn't do at the start of the hour is pretty cool thing. So
And you actually used to work as a golf
so that was my other experience as a coach. So when I finished school, so in that period between kind of Tamworth and moving to WA, I did my apprenticeship as a golf pro. So that involves a mixture of kind of working in a shop, coaching, and playing. So obviously I did that at a reasonably high level, did that for years. It probably taught me a lot about coaching, just with you work with a very mixed client base, especially in a place like Sydney. Most golf clubs there are private, so you're working with kind of older clientele and things like that. So it's a difficult thing as a 17, 18-year-old.
Yeah, for sure.
To go and kind of really learn how to kind of deal with people from kind of all different walks of life. So it was a very, very different experience, but taught me a lot, made me a very confident coach.
Yes.
Yeah,
nice. And last year you had the privilege of actually going to coach someone to the CrossFit Games. Yeah,
so that was pretty cool. So one of my main reasons to moving to Byron Bay, I got an opportunity to work for a particular athlete who competed in the sport of CrossFit. So in doing so, I was able to kind of hook up with her and start kind of helping her pursuing her goals. Just this last year, we travelled over to kind of America, and she competed over there. She was lucky enough to kind of do very well and win over there. So that experience for me in that specific sport, that was a very good experience in kind of seeing her do that and helping her prepare for that. But yeah, again, the big reason I came and kind of took that opportunity to work with her was to kind of see how an athlete in another sport kind of ticks and goes about her business, and kind of that's been very, very interesting for me.
For sure.
That was the main reason I moved there. I never thought that I'd have that opportunity to go over there and see that. But then obviously at the end of the day, that was what I was after. Was to see her prepare for something like that, and I was just lucky enough to be a part of it as well.
So I'm sure a lot of people have heard about CrossFit, but for those who don't know anything about CrossFit, what would the CrossFit Games be equivalent to in, say, like football or cricket or something?
Yeah, look, it's just the professionalism of it as a sport. So if you look at any sport, you can kind of play it on a junior level, a club level, but if you take it to that end range of becoming a professional athlete, it becomes your be-all and end-all, and your whole life is obviously revolving around that one thing, and that's what it takes to be at that top level in that sport. You need to obviously invest a lot of time, a lot of your money, and it's a very, very difficult thing to pursue. And only a very few obviously get the opportunity to do it. So it's a mixture of all those things. So.
Yeah, right. And these these athletes that are competing at CrossFit Games, they're sort of considered, I suppose, a lot by the CrossFit community, but also outside as like being, you know, some of the fittest people in the world, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, so the kind of claim of CrossFit as a group or an entity, they create these competitions. They're based over a whole range of activities, and their claim is that the testing protocols are going to find the fittest individual overall. So the whole idea of it is they have a mixture of all these different modalities, and you can come and test your fitness in many different ways, and if you stack up to what they perceive as their version of fitness or definition of fitness, then it is viewed across the board to kind of anyone in the fitness industry, I suppose, as a pretty well-rounded kind of level of fitness, because it tests so many things. So it's pretty cool to watch.
So this is like just something I've just thought of right now. Going to the games, that experience for you, being in that environment with all those sort of people and that level of you know, professionalism and stuff. What sort of impact did that have on you?
Yeah, so look, as a coach, for me, that's really the end goal. Like, it wouldn't matter what sport you're in, if you get the opportunity to go and coach at that level, the people that you are around when you go and do that, you can't really replace that.
Yeah, right.
So just being there for that, for that week and a half, not only obviously being there preparing your own athlete, but watching other athletes compete, watching other coaches prepare their athlete, get them ready, see things that they do. Obviously the networking side of things, so you're getting to meet people from all around the world in that same field, and everyone that is there is basically the best at what they do. So it's a pretty irreplaceable environment to be a part of, and obviously very privileged to do so. At home, it's been pretty big for me. It's one of those things, if you're at that level and helping someone at that level, that makes you, I suppose, something that at home that sees quite successful. So it's helped me with my clientele. It's allowed me to kind of create new opportunities and kind of attract new clientele. So, it's been pretty cool.
Nice, that's so good. Cool. Now, Josh, your experience, your background actually in, you went to university and studied.
So I went to uni and did a degree in sport and exercise science and nutrition. So I did a bachelor degree in that. Now I'm currently doing my master's in exercise physiology. So pretty similar to Nick.
And you've been working
the same path.
You and Nick have actually, while you've been studying and stuff, you've been doing a fair bit with Nick. I've noticed.
Yeah, so I've done a fair few hours with Nick. He's been helping me out a lot. And as Nick was saying about coaching an athlete, you know, I was there sort of on and off helping out as well wherever I could. So that was a really good experience as well. And you're now doing, did you say you're doing your masters in exercise physiology? So masters now in exercise physiology.
And Nick sort of guided you a bit and helped you out along the way. And you've also done a bit of you did a bit of coaching. Nick actually coached you and helped you with, you had a back injury or something, did you, that he was helping you out with? Or
had some back issues which Nick's helped me out with. I've been exercising, like going to the gym and stuff like that, for probably since I was maybe 17 or something like that. Then I just got to a point where I injured myself, and I kept sort of injuring myself through not moving properly and not not great technique. So Nick's helped me out with that stuff, and that's part of the reason why I'm studying exercise physiology now, and why I did sport and exercise science in the first place. Yeah, because I did my personal training certificates first before I started uni, and did a little bit of personal training, but I really wanted more depth of knowledge. So then that's why I did a bachelor in sport and exercise science, and then now doing exercise physiology.
Yep, nice. And so I suppose your choice to pursue that path was almost out of necessity, or you've sort of had a few injuries that you wanted to learn a bit more about?
Yeah, that's definitely what sparked it, I think.
Cool.
Other than just being interested in health and fitness since I was younger.
Yep.
But yeah, that's definitely what sparked going down at least the exercise physiology path.
Yep. Cool. All right. Now, just quickly, go back to Nick, just to chat a bit about your experience in Fifo.
Yep.
So, what was your role? What were you actually doing?
It's basically a drills assistant, so TA as such. So,
right, TA, yeah. And what were you drilling? Was it exploration?
Yeah, exploration drilling. Yep. Right. So my main roles was literally running buckets of water.
Right.
So just running around in the very hot heat.
Yeah.
Just kind of whatever was needed, getting tools, that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. And what was your overall experience? How long were you in it for? So exactly.
Yeah, it was a bit under 6 months. I think I did 4 swings.
Okay.
It was 2 on, 1 off. So so a little while, but it was my overall experience. The work was fine. Physically, I didn't mind that.
Yeah.
I didn't worry too much. At the time, I didn't have a partner or anything, so being away, that didn't really bother me. Obviously, the money's good, things like that. Negatives, the lifestyle, the sleep schedules, the things like that. I found hard, particularly with my training. Found it very hard to be consistent with my training. I kind of played around with a few different ways of doing it, like doing certain things while you're out at camp, and then doing others when you're back at home and things like that. But just with the different kind of sleep schedules and stuff like that, and just the long days in the heat. I think these days I could probably do a lot better job of it with my knowledge. But back then I didn't really know much.
So how old were you?
I was in my kind of mid to early 20s. So
gotcha.
I think back then I didn't have I reckon I could go about it a bit differently and do it a little bit easier now. But it was very, very low on knowledge back then, and didn't really know how to handle it. So I did struggle with it a little bit, and it came down to lifestyle, and I wanted to go to uni, and it was just one of those things. I was just kind of ready to move on to that next thing. Right.
And did you look after yourself pretty well, physically and health wise?
Yeah, 100%. I found that easy out there. Everything's so structured.
Yeah.
I suppose I had no knowledge, but I found it easy to eat half decent. It was more just so that going to the gym after 12 hours, or having to do it at stupid o'clock or late at night, in and around your eating times and stuff. It was hard to be able to get all that in there and then be okay to just continually do that for 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
That was difficult. You could make it happen. It really had to be your priority though, which was challenged, I suppose. Whereas when you're at home, you went back, and then it was just you had all this time.
So
it was obviously much easier. So it was good and bad. I'm glad I did it. Everything's a good experience. It was, but overall, it was it wasn't my cup of tea. It wasn't something I could do for a long time.
Yeah. Looking back on it now, as a, I suppose, health professional, what are some of the things that you noticed and you think that were probably the biggest challenge and the hardest things for guys to try and maintain that healthy?
Yeah, look, obviously, depending on your role, I was lucky. I had one where I was running around and moving a lot. Obviously, if you've got a role where you're, say, sitting on a machine for 12 hours and things like that, there's going to be different challenges in different roles. I think at the end of the day, no matter what your role it is, it comes down to kind of the education of what you can kind of do to make whatever your role is better. So if you've got quite an active role, running around like what I did, it was all about making sure that you stayed hydrated and you eat well and things like that, because you were quite mobile. If I was sitting on a machine for 12 hours, it would look completely different. I'd need to be combating that amount of sitting by doing something else at the end of the start of my day. So it's going to be completely dependent on what that person was doing for the day.
Yeah,
so,
everyone's individual.
Yeah, exactly right. So back then it was like, like I was just buggered, just the pure amount of kind of work that you were doing, being out of that heat. And when you're a bit younger, like, you knew you drank water, but like, how much water do I drink?
Yeah.
Or like, like, how much food do I need to eat for that amount of work? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
of course.
It was just kind of not really knowing.
Yep.
And you were kind of winging it half the time. So, but yeah, so that was what I struggled with. It was just really tiring work, I suppose. Like, enjoyed it at the time, but it really took it out of you.
Yeah. Is there any, like, obviously FIFO workers are sort of, it's pretty well known that there's a lot of guys that sort of do eat unhealthy and don't do like enough exercise and are overweight and stuff. Is there any common mistakes that you remember seeing guys making around this area, around this space?
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's like any level of kind of inactivity. So I suppose a lot of the jobs, like, you'd know more than me on this, but I'd imagine a lot of the jobs require more kind of sitting and not a lot of running around, because most stuff would be machine based. So people in those roles, you're going to see levels of kind of obesity, I suppose. And that literally just comes from inactivity. So if they don't have the knowledge in regards to what they should be eating at the end of each day, or any level of stretching and movement they should be doing at the end of each day, that stuff's going to compound over time. Obviously, whenever you're time poor in any scenario, you start to lose certain routines that need to be a part of your life. And those things start to build kind of long-term issues or detrimental effects as such. So so it's really knowing how to combat whatever you're doing. So if you are sitting on a machine for 12 hours, it's like, what can I do at the start of each day that's going to make my life easier?
What's the difference between, like, so there's guys that have very physical jobs but choose not to do any physical exercise outside of work, and some of them are still obese and stuff. Is there a big difference between like normal activity, physical activity, and intentional activity? So like training physically to get fit and healthy. What would you say there's a lot of difference between that?
Sorry, go again with the question.
So basically the difference between intentional training and then just like normal physical activity in a job, say like someone who might be like a chippy or a concrete or a mechanic.
So exercise.
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 Yeah, look, there is big differences. The main difference in intentional activity should be an intentional activity is what your, like, proper exercise done correctly is going to be done with kind of proper movement. It's going to be done with keeping, obviously, everything that you need to be done well in mind. So if you're, say, a chippy, so let's just take a concreter who is just going to sit in a squat and screet concrete all day. There's very little thought to their movement if they're doing it correctly, things like that. Like, at the end of the day, there's a job, they need to complete this task. They're going to do what they need to do. It's well known that jobs like concreting and tiling is very, very hard on your body. So the effects of that, which is not intentional training, but it's obviously movement and a lot of work that needs to be done, can be very hard on your body. Whereas if you're doing intentional training that's structured around what you need to improve or what needs to keep you healthy, then everything that you're doing is kind of beneficial, and it's kind of it's there for a purpose. So that would be the biggest differences, and that just comes down to knowledge of what you're doing. Training on any level, no matter if you're an Olympic athlete or if, pardon me, you've just got a sore lower back, it needs to be targeted around what you need to fix. It needs to be quality and kind of time based. So
and I would imagine the psychological effects would be like quite significant, like in a sense that you're coming away feeling better, like you've actually done 100%. Something to, as opposed to working a big day. At the end of the day, you're exhausted. You're not thinking, like, generally speaking, some people really love the job and they do get a lot of fulfillment out of the physical activity out of it. Though when you come out of a gym session, it's very rare you don't that you're not happy with your workout. So I imagine that their psychological effects would be
they're huge. They're huge, 100%. Yeah, if you learn to love anything, you obviously, doesn't matter what it is, that's gonna improve your mental health. So
for sure.
So we just had a slight technical issue there with the camera, so we had to restart it. We had to get some water. Let's get bloody water in. So that brings us to our next point, or our next main topic to why the boys are here. I'll just give you a quick background on how I know these guys and how this come about. So Nick's actually been my CrossFit coach for the last 2 years, and Josh also trains there and has worked pretty closely with Nick in their profession. We were discussing problems, issues of FIFO workers and how they're not, generally speaking, they're not physically fit and diets like not great. And we started talking about different ways of how we might be able to improve that if we could have any sort of impact on that whatsoever. And we've come up with a plan. We're going to run a pilot program beginning February. We're going to take a small group of guys, like about 30 or 30 to start off with, guys and girls, and it's going to be a free program. However, there's going to be a very strict filtering process, and basically it comes down to intention, like how much intention you have, if you're actually interested or not. So there'll be a few things we send out, questions, etc. Without giving too much away about exactly what we're doing, this is, I suppose, the best thing to do is to talk about the value of it. First, we've got Nick, who's CrossFit coach, CrossFit Games coach, also university degree. Same with Josh. He sort of specialises in diet. We're basically going to be training these guys, 30 of you, as best we can. Obviously, this distance is going to be the biggest issue, but we're going to try and keep it as personal as possible, and we're aiming for the best results possible. We spoke a lot about why guys aren't training, and a lot of it come down to injuries, like previous existing injuries, back injuries, knees, all this sort of problem. So this is something that we're hopefully going to be able to address, and also this program. Who are the sort of people that, I suppose, us you guys? Who are the sort of guys that can do this program?
Yeah, look, on the exercise side of things, like, it's going to be relevant for anyone. Mm-hmm. It's going to kind of start, not general, but start kind of very simple, mm-hmm. But at the same time there'll be a lot of value in it. Yep. And it'll progress from there. And the idea around that is that we need it to be relevant to everyone, and it needs to have those kind of fundamentals from the start, and those fundamentals are your building blocks into how to have kind of a good long-term training program, and that goes for everyone, whether you're at a very high level of fitness and you go to the gym every day, or for someone doing something for the first time in their donga or moving into the gym. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of important to understand. It's going to be relevant to everyone, and you don't need any level of fitness to be able to complete it. And the goal from my end is that everyone will get a benefit from that.
And now I suppose, like emphasise again, it's going to be free for 30 people only, because it's sort of a pilot program. We are also at the same time discovering what impact we can have, and like in terms of like any secret catches or anything, there is nothing. It's more for us to learn how we can help, where we can help, how we can make a big impact, I suppose. So sort of people we're after is guys and girls that actually want to make a change, improve their general health, fitness and well-being. That's pretty much the best way of summarising. Being able to go home on their R&R, be fit and healthy for their family, and enjoy themselves, no injuries, that sort of thing. That's pretty much covers most of what we're doing. Is there anything else, Josh, that you can think of?
Not really sure with the technical difficulty when it cut out. But just as Nick said, with the exercise side of things, and then he'll be looking after them for that. Yep. And then just with any nutritional related things. Yep. I think I might have mentioned it before, but again, just any help that will benefit you guys. Just any small things, changing little habits. Yep. Even just educating people. Yeah. things like that. They're going to help people long term. No, as I said, no meal plans or anything like that. But small things and coach and stuff like that.
And that's it. And we're going to try and keep this very manageable. We've thought and talked a lot about you guys and girls working in Fifo. Big hours you've worked. Also, myself, I've had a lot of experience working big hours and training and being able to manage that. So I've worked with people who've had a chat about how we can target this and make it manageable, I suppose. Make it sustainable is probably the best word for it.
Yeah, it'll be a very small investment in your time for the kind of quality that you get. So it's not going to be, you're spending hours doing exercises and kind of things like that. It's going to be kind of very straight to the point, and the focus is going to be in the quality of the stuff that you do. It won't be long and big and boring. It's going to be very kind of very focused, individualised work. So that's quality over quantity.
Well, and there's going to be a lot of little surprises in there too, which, only those who are in the group of 30 will find more out about. So if you guys are interested, you can send us an email just to register your interest at Fit4Fifo@gmail.com. You can also contact us on Instagram or Facebook. Just reach out with just a bit about that, or just actually I'm interested will be fine, and we'll contact you back with further information. That would be perfect. So that covers all of that. I think I'm pretty happy with what we've delivered. What do you reckon, boys? Is there anything else?
I hope so.
Cool. All right, no worries. Well, thanks for tuning in again, guys. We're all really excited about this year. So I'm not sure if I mentioned, but it's going to begin the start of February. So you got to act quick on this, guys. There's 30 spots. We've actually already got a few people, Fifo workers that I've spoke to that are interested. So just get in quick and register with all intention, because if you want to actually do something with this year, then this is a great opportunity. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. We're also now on Spotify and iTunes. iTunes, Apple, yes, that's right.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, exactly. So, get on there, give us a follow, subscribe, like, all that sort of jazz, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Cheers. Alrighty. Oh, we nailed that.